So for this video, we're going to be using properties of special quadrilaterals. And so we're going to be given this information, and then we are going to try to decide whether the statement is always or sometimes true. And then we're going to explain our reasoning. So for this first one, it says, for any rhombus QRST, decide whether the statement is always or sometimes true. I'm going to draw a diagram, and then we're going to explain our reasoning. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw my rhombus, and then label QRST. It doesn't matter where you put the letters as long as you go in order. So if I start here with Q, my next one should be R, S, and then T. So the first one says angle Q is congruent to angle S. So I have angle Q congruent to angle S. I need to determine whether that's always or sometimes true. Well, angle Q and angle S, those are opposite angles. And I know from one of my properties of parallelograms that opposite angles are congruent. And since a rhombus is a type of parallelogram, this is always going to be true. So for my reasoning, I'm going to put always, and I'm going to say that in parallelograms, opposite angles are congruent. So again, because that's a property of parallelograms and a rhombus is a parallelogram, it's a type of parallelogram, this will always be true. Okay, now let's look at the next one. The next one says angle Q is congruent to angle R. So if angle Q is congruent to angle R. Okay, well those aren't opposite angles anymore, so I can't use that. In my properties of parallelograms, it actually says that consecutive angles, so angles right next to each other, are supplementary. And so that means that they add to 180. So I can't use any properties of parallelograms for this one. And for a rhombus, the only property special to a rhombus is that all sides are equal. So I can't say that either. So this one's going to be sometimes. And so the only case that a rhombus will have those angles right next to each other congruent is if it's a square. And that's because in a square, all angles are equal to 90 degrees. They're right angles, so then in that case, they'll be congruent. Okay, let's try the next one. So this one says for any rectangle ABCD, so I'm going to draw my rectangle ABCD, decide whether the statement is always or sometimes true. So for that first one, it says AB is equal to BC. So saying this AB side is congruent to this BC side. Well, starting with parallelograms, that told me the opposite sides were congruent. So not necessarily sides right next to each other. In a rectangle, that property was just 4 right angles. So I can't use that. So this one, again, is going to be sometimes. And the only time it will be equal is if it is a square. So again, a square is a type of rectangle. It's just a little more specialized. And so if it's a square, all sides are equal, so that means the sides next to each other will be equal. Okay, let's try that last one. So the last one says that AB is equal to CD. So it's telling me that opposite sides are congruent. Well, I know from my properties of parallelograms that opposite sides are congruent. So this one will be always, because a rectangle is a parallelogram. So I can say in parallelograms, opposite sides are congruent. Okay, that's it for this video. You can go ahead and move on to that last one.